This morning on a jam-packed Sunday footy show, the Pies soar as they knock the Cats off the perch in a thriller at the G. Geelong wonder story Mark Blixabs joins the panel. Bulldogs in crisis, 1-7 and reeling after the Suns teach them a lesson in a demoralising loss. Gold Coast Hardman Campbell Brown to recount the win live. Is it starting to take its toll? 2 losses for the Dons as Brisbane produced for embattled coach Michael Voss at Etihad. Star Lion Tom Rockcliffe and Essendon midfielder Jake Melcham together in the studio. Plus, a story with a different twist. Nathan Brown unearths a great grassroots footy moment. While another hiccup for the Swans finding out their first draw of the year, Hawks teach the young Giants a lesson, and Nick Nat. How about that? All that and more on a massive Sunday footy show. Good morning, let's get into it. Upsets galore, stunning round 8 of football. This is the Sunday footy show. The whole crew is here. Billy Brownless, the Geelong Flyer, the Brownlow medalist Shane Crawford. Matthew Lloyd is here, the spearhead from Bomberland. Nathan Brown doing some beautiful work in the analysis space. And Damien Barrett, the #1 news journalist in the nation. The results look like this. There were plenty of turn-up for the books too, with the West Coast getting a thrilling round off to a start on Friday night. Brisbane out to 12-1 yesterday, landed a knockout punch. The Hawks against the gallant Giants. The Suns' first 2 in a row. Collingwood stunned the Cats. And a draw, Fremantle, 27 points down, were able to get it back. Ross Lyon getting all the kudos this morning around the country. And the ladder, as it stands, is like this. Hawthorn on top. From Geelong, the Bombers and Sydney, the Cats slink to second. Richmond will Shanghai up the ladder today if they win. And West Coast are back in the 8th. But all of a sudden, the round's been flipped and the competition's been flipped upside down. There's the Tigers. The Suns aren't that far away. They've got a horror month ahead. And down the bottom, there's some work to do from about Brisbane down. North Melbourne in 13th, probably still in contention. Wonderful round of football so far. And Nathan, we'll start with the Magpies last night. Few saw this coming.
No, they had their backs against the wall last night, the Maggies, and with Heath Shaw out, Dale Thomas out, they put on a performance to remember, particularly in the first half. Their pressure was outstanding all night. Geelong still had more tackles than them, but it was all more the inferred pressure, and they really put Geelong on notice early. Geelong turned the ball over a lot. It was the Magpies of 2010. The amount of pressure they put on, they got the ball back, and then they scored. Their run and carry was terrific. That man, Harry O'Brien, was just about best man on the ground. The Cats came at them, and they withstood that and then got up a gear again in the last quarter. And they've won premierships, they've played in grand finals, but I don't think the supporters or their coach or their players would have been as proud as they were last night of that performance.
Well, they played 3 really good quarters, didn't they? I think it was 2 the week before. So they're slowly building. But as you said, they had injuries and weren't expected to win. All the money was for the Cats. So that is a fantastic win. And what happened late there with Andrew Cracker, Brownlow?
Yeah, they had a bit of a lucky break. They didn't get the best of the umpiring all night. The supporters were hating it. But this one here, Andy Cracker picks it up. I reckon it might be over the line there. Twice, it might be over the line.
The whole ball's got to go over.
This isn't a free kick either. This is just a good tackle by Harry O'Brien. It's paid over the shoulder. He doesn't go back behind his mark, plays on, kicks a goal. That puts them just a goal down. So Andrew Cracker, good fortune, but the AFL probably need to look at that one. I thought the ball was over the line.
No, the whole ball, as we know, has got to go over the line. We'll have a look at it.
A bit of the ball.
The umpire had a fantastic view, Nathan. He couldn't get a better spot than where he was.
Well, are you saying that ball wasn't over the line?
Well,
yes.
have
a look. Here it is. Let's have a look.
You can't see the whole ball.
He's got a better view than us, hasn't he?
He's got a terrific view.
Right
it's going to be the whole ball, Brownie.
It's not over the line.
Hang on again. Here he goes again. There's the whole ball.
No.
There's the whole ball.
Come back from the end, Brown.
Yeah, it was the whole ball. That was Cracker magic.
The umpires weren't allowed to straddle the line. Did they get told not to straddle the line, the goal umpire? And he was straddling it.
They said it's okay, Bill.
I didn't hear that, Lord. What else? What about the Dogs?
Brownie, what about your old club, the Bulldogs? Where are they? They are in a really bad position, Brownie. 7 matches they've now lost in a row. That comes on the back of losing their last 11 last year by 11 goals on average. Something's not right there, Brownie.
Did anybody expect them to be up in the top 8 at this point of the year? I didn't. And I think they're rebuilding. Brendan McCartney has got a big job ahead of him, and they are rebuilding. There's no doubt about it. Their bottom 6 aren't as good as most clubs in the competition, but they're rebuilding. You've got to give them time.
Yeah, they had their best
how much
team.
Lloyd, you were very critical 2 weeks ago. You said that they lost the same way every single week. I mean, you could argue that's what happened again against Gold Coast yesterday. Their disposal efficiency was down.
Yeah.
You're on the money a couple of weeks ago. There's nothing you're seeing that's changing your mind on it?
I was critical of the Dogs in that the type of players that they have in that team, Wallace, Lipitor, they've added lower
They've obviously got Kobe Stevens. The list goes on. They're all the one pace. And I think that some of the players they need to bring in are outside run. They need to bring in guys who can break a line. And obviously their forward line, they can't score, those type of things. But I worry for the Bulldogs because they were beaten by the Suns yesterday. What hope have they got next year and the year after and the year after that? So it's a bad time to be going down.
So you're writing the Dogs off for 3 years.
It's going to be a long process.
Do you get their message? I mean, do you understand what Brendan McCartney's trying to do with this footy club? He's talking about a very long and timely rebuild.
Yeah, I do. I think that with what Brownie said was it is going to take time. What I like about Brendan McCartney is what he's done is the criticism I have of Mark Neeld is I don't know what he's trying to do. He's brought in older players. Suddenly those older players aren't in the team anymore. Brendan McCartney's trying to teach his group how to play a new brand of football. And it's not working at the moment, and it may not work, but at least he's trying something.
Lordo, you've been seduced here because you sat down with him during the week. You went in a coffee with him, he talked through his vision. This is just a backflip from you.
Come on, Lordo.
No, I did meet with Brendan McCartney. I did meet with him, but I'm not seduced by it. I do feel that they are in for a world of pain, but in saying that...
So you sat down with him and he took you through his vision for the club, and you've now amended your position?
I haven't amended my position. I still feel they get smashed on the outside, and I still worry about their future and also their recruiting because I feel that they need to draft some pace, which they haven't drafted.
McRae and Stringer have come in. I reckon they are the future of the Dogs.
Yep, so it's going to take time, and I enjoyed the chat, but still they're a long way off.
Disappointing to see this happen.
I'll tell you who they need, a kid called Jaeger O'Meara.
Bomb.
Oh, you can call him Bomb, you can call him whatever you want, but can this boy play? He has got all the skills.
18, Bill.
18, he makes the right decisions, he's got a really, really good head on his shoulders, he's so composed, and he could be the best of the Suns.
It's over, the NAB Rising Star, boys. It's over.
This is him?
Finished. He wins.
Yeah. Yep. He is outstanding, and the best of the Suns. He's got a good teach there with G. Ablett running around, but he's tough, he's hard. He's got it all, boys. Yeah. He's got it all.
Would have gone number one in the draft had he been available to go in it. But the biggest story of the weekend has been the Brisbane Lions and what it meant for Michael Voss yesterday. That was just a sensational win. No one saw this coming whatsoever, but they bashed the Bombers up yesterday. Cannot wait to talk to Jake Melsham and Tommy Rockcliffe after this because they were aggressive, they were ferocious from the start. Michael Hurley got put out of the game. Bang. That was young Clark who crashed into Elliot Kavanagh and also Big Brownie came in. He was up and about early in the game.
He was, wasn't he?
So, and this is an incident. It'll be looked at.
It will be looked at for sure, Lordy.
Won't be looked at, he'll be out.
Do you mind when clubs go in with that mindset? I mean, they're going to lose some players next week for match review panel reasons. Is it worth the grief?
Was yesterday.
Was it?
I've seen. There was a few years back where Mark Harvey sent his Fremantle team out, a game at Geelong. I remember when Dean Solomon got 8 weeks for elbowing Cameron Ling. I saw a fair bit of that in terms of the Harvey influence on the Brisbane Lions yesterday. It can look silly if it backfires on you, but yesterday they kept it up for 4 quarters and they deserved the points.
What's it mean for Michael Voss, Shane? It's certainly a week of respite for him.
Yeah, it was. I thought he coached really well. The way he set the side up, the mindset that they had, and there was a wonderful story. Brent Staker, who his last game was round 23 in 2011. Had a lot of injuries, knee injuries and so forth. But look at this, Bill. He kicks these 40 seconds to go. This is just to make sure of the victory. And he has nailed it from 50. And all of his teammates get around him. It's a wonderful victory against the odds, and that was a super story.
It's beautiful.
And that's what you love about footy. You know, one week you're down, the next week you're on a high, and well done, Brent Staker. And this one, I want to ask Damo, Jonathan Brown, taking a mark. The Essendon fans weren't very happy. Have a look at this. He marks the ball on the line.
It's not on the line, Shane. It's over the line. And
no, it wasn't. It was on the line because they've rewarded the mark. He goes back and he kicks the goal.
Whole ball over the line.
What are you thinking here, Damo? Because
well, Brownie's our ball over the line.
The camera angle wasn't
Brownie
great.
will know that when he sees this replay here, the ball is over the line. What I don't like about this review, guys, and it's yet another problem with the review, is the goal umpire has not had his opinion be the main opinion on this.
Well,
clearly, he's about to signal it behind.
That's
okay,
right.
Which it was. Yet, for some reason, the review has come back that the mark is going to be paid. I don't get it, Brownie. I don't get it.
Is it that camera angle? Because they only had that camera angle.
That was conclusive. If you're not going to use that decision to overrule that particular mark, you'll never, ever overturn a goal umpiring. So you may as well just take it out of the play now until the end of the year, sort it out over in the off-season.
No, the AFL
it was actually a push in the back too. First of all, we're going to look at some more in a moment.
The AFL have to put some money into it, don't they, Hutch? Because they can't rely on the host broadcaster if they don't have the right technology on the goal line. Say cricket or even soccer, they've got a permanent camera right on the goal line. If they don't have that there like they do yesterday, they need to invest money outside the host broadcaster.
Well, if racing can have patrol vision and have cameras all over the racecourse, surely
and back your goal umpire in. He was there on the spot.
He was.
You got it right.
Yeah.
And just on that, I think the umpiring yesterday was some of the worst umpiring I've seen in years at AFL levels. Really poorly umpired the game between Essendon and Brisbane. And here's some edits of Jonathan Brown yesterday.
Velvet.
Just the hands in the back. There's been a huge change in the last few weeks.
Is this a forearm or it's a forearm?
What happened to the two motions and all this that we're hearing? But what about this one? Jonathan Brown doesn't.
Let's have a look.
This one here. Hands in the back.
Yeah, that one is, righto.
So, but that happened. I reckon I could have pulled out 6 or 7 yesterday, and the game was let go. There was hardly any free. Do you know in the first 3 rounds there was an average of 45 free kicks paid per game?
How many now?
Now it's down to around the 30 mark, 30 to 35. So they have pulled back in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
That coincides with the new head of footy at the AFL. Got no doubt about that since he started. Mark Evans.
Hey, the Bombers. Just got over the line against GWS, then lost to Geelong last week, and then what happened yesterday against Brisbane. There's no doubt that the weight and the mental anguish they're now experiencing, these players, over the Asada interviews is taking effect. And it's what you said was going to happen, Lloydie, and I reckon Hutchie might owe you an apology for actually having to go at you about it. But for the past 2 weeks, coinciding with the 2 games they've lost, they have had very long interviews, certain players. Some players are being interviewed for 3 hours, Hutchie.
That's a long boat to draw.
They are being interviewed for 3 hours, and they are discovering in these interviews, Hutchie, the substances that were given to them do, on certain occasions, have potentially frightening consequences down the track.
So
they are learning things
the
in these
Brisbane
interviews.
loss.
What sort of consequences down the track?
Hey, hang
what
on,
sort of
Damo.
consequences?
Damo, what are you saying?
They don't know what the consequences are, and that's the problem with this whole situation.
Like health issues.
They don't know
in
what they were
30s,
given, and
40s.
they are finding out what they were given in the past 2 weeks. There's no known answer to what the consequences.
So what are you
be.
saying? Down the track in 5 or 10 years?
That's where this is at, Bill. This is a health issue more than a performance enhancement issue.
Hang on.
This issue.
Long Bow Barrett this morning. Long Bow Barrett.
Hey, that could be huge.
Well, that's what they're dealing with, Bill, and they are finding out that they do not know what they had. And that is weighing on their minds, Lloydie.
No doubt, and I was talking to you, Hutch, about the time that they've been brilliant, and it has galvanised them for periods of time, but it was always going to come a time where they had to be interviewed and people are going to lose their positions at that football club. And players are admitting that the 3.5 hour interviews and some of the things that they're being questioned on is taking their mind away from football. So it was bound to come a time where they were affected. But are we up to
analysis
time? And I want to talk about the Fremantle-Sydney game. It was an absolute ripper. You can see the way this game was played at the SCG, that there's going to be why these teams are capable of finishing the top 4. It's a real scrap. We've seen Ryan Crowley just beat opponent after opponent in traffic. But I want to talk to you about what Hanbury did to him yesterday. He's gone to Hanbury. Hanbury kept taking him forward, took him out of the traffic, and Crowley didn't like it, being on the last line of defence. So here's this stoppage here. These two, instead of getting caught up in the stoppage, he keeps charging forward. He knows his team are a strong stoppage team. They can win. Watch Crowley here. He's got no idea where the ball was inside. No, he's not watching the ball. And there's one here, takes him into the stoppage, and then once again charges back towards goal. And watch this, Crowley caught out once again. He's still not sure what to do, and then on the burst, Hanbury burns him off again. So he kicked 4 goals in the first half, and it's something that the other players who Crowley goes to might be watching from now here on in.
Very nice work, Lordo. Very nice. Now, big game the other night, Friday night, West Coast, last gasp win. The Kangaroos were a bit stiff but built.
Yes.
Only the very, very best players can do this.
Yes, let's have a look at it. Of course, Friday night, it was unbelievable. That man, Nick Nat, he was the only bloke going to mark this. Only bloke going to mark it. He takes a big grab. But he kicks a goal. But we've done some forensic work here in a minute. I want you to have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen at home. Nick Nat kicks a goal. He gives a high five to the crowd. Everyone's up and about. They've had a big win at Patterson. Look at them come for everywhere. You're a star, Nick Nat. But have a look at this forensic work we've done here on the man on the mark. Are we doing it now?
What do you discover, Bill?
Well, have a look. Stop it. Have a look. One of the North blokes does a handstand. The other one pulls his jumper up. Have a look at it here. This is unbelievable. There was 10 North Melbourne players on the mark. One's pulled up his jumper, showing his Bristols, and the other one is doing a handstand. That is unbelievable. Well done, North.
The high tackles and the high contact, Brownie's become a big talking point. How does it happen, and take us through it?
There's a lot of conjecture about how players get their free kicks. Now, have a look at the top 5 free kick getters, top 6 over the last few years. Selwood, and McGlynn and Shuey. But they're all small guys, and I think they've found a way to get high tackles. And have a look at the first example here the other night. And this one's Adam Selwood from West Coast
Eagles.
That one, right there. So the ball comes out, and here he goes. He gets the ball, and then he's tackled by Patch Adams. Now, Croft, you come in here and you tell us what exactly happened there and how he did it.
Well, Nath, what the smaller players are doing, they're getting very low. So as they're about to get tackled, they're lowering themselves and they're getting the high tackle. So do that properly. So I've got it. You're going to tackle me. And straight away, you've got me high, I get the free kick and we maintain possession.
And there's one other way that they're trying to do this at the moment. There's a second example we're going to show you here. This is Luke Shuey. Now, this is a push in the back from Jack Zeeble. Now, talk us through this, because he kicks a goal from this at a very important stage of the game.
Well, players too, when they know they're going to be tackled from behind, they're virtually just falling to the ground and they're getting the free kick. So as you're coming to tackle me, I fall to the ground. Oh! And I'll get the free kick, I'll go back and kick the goal. That felt quite good.
So players are particularly dropping their knees, they feel contact, dropping to the ground.
Very much so.
Is it something that the umpires need to look at and say, OK, you're playing for a free kick? Is it smart or is it outside the rules of the game?
Very smart from the player who's getting tackled. The umpires certainly need to look at this.
A loophole.
And it very much is a loophole at the moment and favouring the smaller types.
Thanks, Brownie and Croft. Damo, Darren Jolly, is he in trouble?
You reckon he is? Let's take a look at an incident that he had yesterday against Stokes. Look, depending on what mood the match review panel in, Hutchie, is, that could be a 1 week missing for Darren Jolly. Now, forget the fact that he's big and Stokes is small. Take it back to last week where Kelly came in on Goddard. He got 2 weeks. It would have been 1 week had he not had the bad prior record on that one. But the match review panel had conditioned us this year, prior to this year, to saying it didn't matter if it was a big man or a small man, you take the consequence of the action, and there was an action there against Stokes, which I think has Jolly in trouble. It's
going to be big news throughout the course of the week. You had an interesting exchange with our other colleague, Gary Lyon, yesterday about the Melbourne coach, Mark Neal, who he was in part in charge of appointing.
Yeah, Gaz, as we know, he got involved because Jim Steins asked him to get involved, but he did appoint Mark Neal as part of a panel. Let's take a listen to what he now sees as having happened 30 matches later.
Well, the appointment. I mean, when you come back to it, you say, did you get the appointment right? Well, right now, there's nowhere near the level of development of that group of players that you would want.
Do you think Mark Neal will be there in 2014? And would you appoint him to be there? Would you allow that contract to play out if you were back in charge?
No, I think it would absolutely need to be reviewed.
Gary Lyon there. Look, it's interesting because that is, again, 1 season and 7 matches into Mark Neal's tenure. He's got until the end of 2014 by way of contract.
You spent some time with Mark Neal on Thursday, a couple of hours, where he took you through his vision, like Lordo did with Brendan McCartney. Are you convinced that he's the right man?
I'm not, no. And look,
so 2 hours.
We're doing my opinion or what?
No, well,
So you had
what I'm going to do, just because I have a coffee with him, I'm not going to change my opinion on what I think is the case. I think it'd be wrong if I did do that, Bill.
So 2 hours left you not impressed enough to think he was a long-term coach of Melbourne?
No, I don't think he understands where he's at the moment. And I say that on the back of what he said to me by saying that where they are at right now, he is saying that he is exactly where the club expected it to be and where he felt he was telling the club they would be when he first got the job. They're not. That club is so far behind where it was meant to be at this stage of his tenure, and yet he's still maintaining this line. And now we're sort of hearing that it's a 5-year job. I mean, this is the rebuild of the real build they keep referring to, but when he took over, it was never, ever meant to be the case. I mean, we know, Hutchie, that Peter Jackson is not going to go in there and not make changes. And as he said last week to this footy show, that the Mark Neal appointment is certainly much under scrutiny.
It's going to be fascinating. 1 each before the break, Bill.
John Worsfold, what caught our eye, of course, Hutchie. Let's have a look at this. The fearless man sends a shiver down your spine every time you see him play. He's playing the bloody piano and singing. Come on, Washer. And have a look at the bloke in the background. He loves it. He loves it.
Last night, the Pies tackles in their forward 50. They were ruthless last night at tackling.
Yeah.
They had 9 in the first quarter. Just have a look at this one. Quinton Lynch tackling Andrew Cracker there. That's how good they were going last night. Oh, they're tackling their own men. Big Q-tip.
Does that go down as a tackle?
Yeah, it should.
Hard to beat after those two. But Josh Hunt, Bill, no wonder you lost last night. What's Josh Hunt trying to do here? What sort of set play is this one from the Cats?
Yeah.
Grabbing his...
He was a bit scratchy last night.
and also rubbing his head, Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you reckon that meant?
I don't know what that is.
It was to stop the kick going the whole way in. It was a 40-metre kick. It was a signal.
There you go. Dane Swan's very good on Twitter, and he sent one out Friday night, and we loved it, so we're going to show it. There's the great Rob Waters from Channel 10 just loading up for a big Friday night. Didn't put the trolley back either. And have a look what he's got, Bill.
He's got a few froffies there, big
He's
Rob
got
Waters.
about 4 or 5 slabs. Things are going all right down
How
here
would
at
Dane
Channel
Swan know who Rob Waters is?
10. He probably watches TV.
He's a good man, Rob.
We're very hard to get away with anything these days, and particularly when you're meant to be in rehab and not going out and having a beer. And a man who used to like going out myself and having a beer after a game, Courtney Dempsey, he's not meant to be out, and he actually tweets a photo of himself. Now, Courtney, I don't know where you're thinking he's at. If you're going to go out and you're going to try and get away with something, and then tweet that you're out with a photo of a beer and a massive big watch as well.
And Stevie J, we all know he thinks he's a coach now. He wants to coach, and he didn't play last night, late withdrawal. Have a look at him here in the coach's box. Just there, Chris Scott's going, what do you reckon, Jono? What should we do here? Jono's got a few words to say here. And then
What does he say, Bill?
Gets more involved. Just wait for it. Jono's just taking it all in. Now he's telling Scotty, you've got to do this. We've got to get players over here. He was actually coaching the team last night.
Well, it didn't work. Get him out.
Well, you can actually get him out on the ground, if you, Andy.
Big upset by Brisbane yesterday. Tom Rockcliffe and Jake Melksham here together next. This is your only Sunday morning footy destination. This is the Sunday Footy Show. With the Sunday Footy Show, upset of the year to date yesterday when Brisbane stunned the Bombers in a game that has some ramifications for all and sundry, including Michael Voss. Lordo, it was a gallant win.
Oh, magnificent win from the Lions. Zorko set them alight early with a couple of goals. He kicked 3. Brownie was good yesterday with a couple. Redden, Polkinghorne, Adcock all had plenty of the footy. Goddard was loose man across half-back with 32. And Heppel was the Bombers' best player, but a huge upset. The Supercoach top 5. Watson spent a lot of time forward, but still got 144 Supercoach points. Goddard, as we said. Ryder was OK. I love Redden's game. Zorko, Hanley. They'll all figure later on in the votes, but it's a great pleasure to invite, obviously, Tommy Rockcliffe, who had a great game yesterday, had an important role on Dustin Fletcher, and Jake Melksham to the panel. But welcome, boys. But firstly to you, Tom. Did you get wound up more so than ever before, more than a previous game?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like you come out pretty hard to attack the Bombers yesterday.
Nah, not really at all. It just sort of panned out that way, which was good. We didn't really overemphasise it at all. We generally have our team targets that we go after, and for some reason the boys were a bit angry down back and they got the job done early, and then it just set the tone for the whole game.
It did, and as we said, Merritt put Hurley out of the game in the first 5 minutes, and also young Clark crashed through Elliot Kavanagh. We see this one here really late. Ooh. We'll probably go for it, but they made a statement, the Lions. We see Big Brownie charge in. He meant business as well. But, Jake, how much did the loss of Hurley affect the Bombers yesterday and the structure of it?
Yeah, he's a big presence, Big Mick. So when we don't have him in the side, we lose a bit of aggression down forward. But I still think that we had the tools to win the game with mids going forward, such as Jobe in late in the last quarter.
You smashed the Lions in the clearances, which resulted in 61 to 39 inside 50s, yet you lost the game. What did James have to say about that after the game?
I think it was just more so the quality of our entries. We've been working on that the last couple of weeks, and we haven't got it right yet. So we'll have to do a bit more work on it this week and start putting it to the favoured side of our forwards.
Tom, did you gain confidence from that first quarter? It was goal for most of the day. I think there was about 14 lead changes. It was 3 goals apiece. I heard Jonathan Brown saying after the game that Voss said just be with them at quarter time and anything's possible in this game.
Yeah, we've been on the road 3 times this year and got blown out of the water at quarter time, so we knew that if we had a good first quarter win the game, we could sort of try and match it with them, and we got the job done in the first quarter.
You're a young side yourself, Redden, these guys are the future of the midfield. You're playing some good footy. How important is it to have a senior player like Simon Black come in, 11 touches in the first quarter and really get you going through the grunt?
Yeah, Blackie's massive for us. He still is, and probably still our number 1 midfielder. And he came on and had an impact straight away, and got subbed out in the second half, but had a massive start to the game for us.
And what about Simon Black? Had a really good game. It was taken off in that third quarter. subbed out of the game. We're thinking, oh, that's a brave move, Vossi. No doubt it was carefully planned. Have we already asked that?
Yeah, we are. But there it is there, Mark. Look how Lordo's going over to the big screen. But Michael Voss, we all love Vossi, of course. Just nice one to win for him.
Yeah, it was.
Tommy.
It was a good, obviously, the jumper as well. The jumper means a fair bit to the footy club. And it was a good opportunity in that, and we played pretty well in heritage jumpers.
You've won all your games in those heritage jumpers, haven't you?
Back in 07, the boys went over to Perth when West Coast were on top and they were down the bottom and rolled West Coast over there. Then we rolled the Dogs last year. So the boys get up for it. We might have to wear a heritage jumper every week.
Tommy, one of the leaders, would you like Michael Voss to be reappointed? And if so, do you feel a responsibility to try and make that happen for him?
Yeah, definitely. I think Vossi's the right man for the job and he's gone about it in the right way, and the boys are fully behind him, and we've just probably let ourselves down a couple of times this year. It's been disappointing when we've travelled. But
you control his future in essence, don't you? That's a big burden for for a young team.
Yes and no. I think we've got to go out there and perform the game plan, but when it's all said and done, it's Vossi's job, and he's got to get us up and get us playing the right way. And unfortunately, we haven't done that for him in the first few weeks.
Jakey, I imagine you'd be sick of talking about it, but 3.5-hour meetings with ASADA for some players during the week, it's got to take its toll. I mean, it's draining, and it looked like you'd played drained football yesterday.
You're right, it is draining, but that's the reality of it. We've got to go through that, and the players have been really good in working through it. It's just something that we're going to have to go through, and in a fortnight it's going to be all over, and we're going to be able to push on. But I think we've dealt with it really well for most of the year, and we'll get through it. What
about the fact that James Hurd came out after the game and said you didn't train well? Can you notice that when you're out there training, your last session before the game, that you haven't trained well? Yeah, we didn't train too well on the Thursday. I think Hurdy was talking about, and training actually went for a little bit longer just so that we could get what we wanted to do right. And even on the Tuesday. So we just need to sharpen up a little bit during the week, focus on what we need to work on, and as they say, you train the way you play. So it obviously showed yesterday. Before we hand over to Lordo, you mentioned that it's draining. Is it the 3.5 hours, is that eating into training time? Is it on your day off? Is it just the information you're processing that's taking a mental burden? What do you think it is? And it's affecting your form? Well, the interviews are on a normal training day, so you don't go into the club that day. But obviously, yeah, you're a little bit nervous going in there because you haven't done anything like that before. I'd never experienced anything like that, and you're really out of your comfort zone. So I don't think the boys have taken too much toll on it, but once it's all over and it's done, I think it'll be good for the club.
There was a few midfield battles that were won yesterday by the Brisbane Lions. One was Rains. He took care of Brent Stanton all day. Everywhere Stanton went, Rains went and took a key bomber midfielder out of the game. And the other one was early in the game. Yo did a great job on David Zaharakis. And although Essendon won the stoppages, Brisbane probably hurt the Bombers more so when they won them. Leuenberger was up against Ryder, Belchomas. Essendon, Watson was played a lot of the game forward. And it seemed like they lost a lot of their structure. There's a goal there to Jonathan Brown, just due to Essendon leaving the space out the back. And this was a real bad one. Watson, usually there to organise. He wasn't for most of the day. Out the back, Brett Maloney. Beautiful. 2 goals. That was a difference in the game, and that can be just a difference. A lack of organisation from the Bombers at times.
Why wasn't he there, Lordo? And perhaps Jake, why did he play more forward yesterday, Joe?
I think it was more so later in the game. We wanted to get a few of our younger players like Jackson Merritt and guys that had legs into the midfield and get those rotations up just so that we could try and beat him with our legs.
Tommy, you love getting on the website there at the Lions, and you have these challenges, and you had a really good one with Jonathan Brown. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we had a pie eating contest. He's a 4 and 20 man, big brownie, so he thought we'd eat a pie, and I stitched him up, heated his up, and he actually burned his mouth. But
we've got it on tape here. We'll throw to it. Have a look at this. Fantastic.
Just heating the pies up backstage before we get the big brownie on stage. He's going to be in trouble because I'm going to heat his probably to scorching, and mine's just going to be lukewarm. Away we go, straight down. Looks hot.
He just pushed through, didn't he?
He did.
He's that hard, he just keeps going.
Is it true that you had it in the microwave for 5 minutes?
Yeah. And also, Tom, his facial injuries as well. You haven't gone easy on him.
No, yeah, he reckons he doesn't have any feeling there, so I thought I'd test him out and see if he was telling the truth.
Now, Jakey, your horse, mate.
Simon Black.
Lady Milksham. It's going quite well at the moment?
Yeah, it's going all right. The coterie group at the footy club, the Essendonians, bought a horse.
Here it is in the red and the black, trying to squeeze through, and there it goes,
Here it
charging
comes.
towards the line. Lady Melton puts its nose in front, and does it win? Yes, it just won. Well done.
Bees.
Nah, it's a good horse. It's going well. It's won me a bit of money, so happy with that.
Nice.
Votes.
The boats yesterday dominated by the Brisbane Lions. Pierce Hanley is now in the best 3 or 4 players at the Brisbane
We
Lions.
asked about Simon Blackett.
Redden had 12 tackles, racked up possession. Zorko 3 massive goals, and Heppel, he was the best Bombers player yesterday. And then over the next month, big games for Essendon. Dreamtime at the G next Saturday night is going to be huge. Then the Swans at the SCG, Carlton. So a big 3 weeks plus the Suns and Brisbane. A couple of big games at the Gabba, Tom. Carlton and Collingwood's going to be huge, plus Fremantle. So you got a big month ahead?
Yeah, big month ahead, but obviously the Friday night game against Collingwood's massive for the footy club, and we wear that jumper again, so hopefully we can get another win.
Stand by. Another one, Tommy Rockcliffe. The Lose prize pack. Can't believe this, Jakey. You're going to get another pair of Quillas. That is pair number 9 for you. And you get them too, Tommy. St. Goliath clothing pack.
Open a franchise.
$100 gift. He'll open up his own store out there at Essendon. The spanner set. That is a beauty, that one. 30-piecer. And man, what a fuss there. $100 voucher. The Ready to Golf, $130 voucher there. The coolest sports towel in the market. There it is. Waterside Hotel, $100 voucher. And a $100 gift voucher from Home Timber and Hardware. Go where the tradies go. Thanks for coming in, boys.
Few injuries over the weekend, Bill, and we're going to go to the ice spray injury report. The first one here, Sharrod Wellingham, first game back for a long time, just gets his foot caught under and rolled his ankle. So he was subbed off very early in the game. Poor Sharrod Wellingham, he just can't take a trick over there at his new club. So let's hope the best for him. Zach Smith here just jumps and for some reason grabs his knee in mid-air. So we're not sure how bad that one is yet. He's going to have scans. Hopefully it's not that bad. Walters, probably the best small forward in the competition at the moment, gets his foot caught underneath again. So another bad one there. Mitch Morton tackles him. So he looks like he could be missing a few more weeks there, Michael Walters. So they're just going down like 9 pins, the Fremantle Dockers. But still plenty more to come on the Sunday Footy Show. The big game last night, Collingwood got over the top of Geelong, but we're going to speak to a man who is one of the great stories of the AFL this year. That's Mark Blixavs from the Geelong Footy Club.
Welcome back for Home Timber and Hardware. Go where the tradies go. This is the Sunday Footy Show. The Cats, first loss for the year last night. They kicked 8 goals in the third quarter, but weren't able to win the game. Collingwood wore them down in the end. Harry O'Brien was fantastic, Nathan, and in a win that could just turn Collingwood's year around. Yeah, you see those 3 goal kickers there, Cracker, Dwyer and Elliott. They caused all sorts of problems for the Cats. Their pace on the outside, Harry O'Brien and Pendlebury were terrific. Dane Swan played a lot forward. Tommy Hawkins kicked 4. Motlop was quiet except for the third quarter. Podsiadly did his job. Stokes was outstanding. Corey and Mackie was a very good player also. Harry O'Brien, Dwyer, Pendlebury, Cracker and Stokes for Geelong. Jimmy Bartell. Low numbers there for the Cats compared to other weeks, but a very special guest today. Talk about him just before we went to the break, and he's a freak of an athlete. He runs the 1500 in 3:45. Mark Blixavs, the first loss had to come, but to Collingwood last night, their pressure was terrific.
Yeah, they were fantastic. They right from the get-go, I think we were a little bit lethargic at the start, and they were just up on us, tackling and forward pressure. And we've said it before, but you can't give the good teams that start because they'll get you. We'll get
into the footy in a minute, but your story is a great one. You're a steeplechaser. You ran the 1500 in 3:45, like I said. What was the decision to come back to football?
I think it was just the change of sports, the opportunity. When I trialled with the club at the end of 2011, that was one of the Zadefek races, and that was from a couple of years ago, this race.
I think it's third here.
Third, the big fella there.
So got a big kick on him, Bill.
Hey, did the Cats give you some money last year to say go away, try out for the Olympics, and helped you with your travel and things like that?
Yeah.
And you did that for a year, and then you've come back. Is that what happened?
Yeah. So at the end of 2011, I signed the a B rookie contract.
Yep.
So I was pretty much getting paid monthly through that contract, and that enabled me to travel overseas and I guess compete in a few races overseas and focus on athletics full time.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the game last night, and the Pies were terrific early. You haven't started games that well. I think 6 of the 8 now you've been behind at quarter time. That was a poor start from Jimmy Bartell, but their pressure last night early was outstanding, and they got you with pace. Cracker, those guys on the outside, normally it's your guys, Duncan, Christensen, Motlop, but those guys were quiet in the first half and they really did their homework. Nathan Buckley set the game up well for them.
Yeah, they came out all guns blazing. They were really good. Cracky to see kick the goal there, but a lot of their small forwards and inside mids, they're just, yeah, they've got pace and they're explosive, and yeah, they got us very early on.
Did Chris Scott say after the game that maybe that loss was coming? Because you have played in fits, and as good as the Cats have been this year, you have probably had to come from behind a lot of times throughout this season.
Yeah, I suppose it's inevitable. If, as I said before, if we're going to give sides a start like that, we can't rely on our third and our second halves to run over the top of teams. So we'll look at it during the week, but I think most of the players and coaches were pretty disappointed.
And did you always know that? How far out did you know that Stevie Johnson wouldn't be playing this weekend? Did you know during the week?
I'm not too sure. I wasn't sort of kept in the loop with that, but I found out personally 10 minutes before the game started. But I think there was a bit of talk during the week about
And what
it.
about lining up on Darren Jolly, a very experienced ruckman, a very good player? How did you find him last night?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play NAB 4 against him, rucked against Jolly and Witt, so I sort of knew what to expect going into the game. But Jolly's got a very good footy brain and is very smart and can go forward and gets down the line, takes some big marks. So Otto and Dale Amos prepared me well for the challenge, but yeah, I thought Jolly especially played really well last night.
Just while we're watching some highlights here, can you take us through your story in detail? I'm fascinated by it. So you were drafted at the end of 2011 and basically paid not to play. When did you play before that as a kid?
Probably I played one game of year 12 football, probably half a game or something, and then under 11s and under 14s was the 2 seasons I played.
So you played
football.
1 year under 11s,
Yep.
1 year under 14s,
Yep.
and you play one game in year 12.
Yes.
And
Yep.
how did Geelong find out about you in that circumstance?
Cam Guthrie's dad, Andrew Guthrie, spoke to a few of the recruiters and said, "I've got one of my son's mates that is quite fit. Obviously, I'm 198 centimetres, so there's a bit of potential there, and he must have seen a bit of potential when I played under 11s. So he spoke to the recruiters, and they called me start of 2011. But I sort of brushed it off and said, no, thank you, I'm happy with the running. And then they called later in the year again, and I thought, what's the harm in doing a trial with them? And so it went from there.
So you just like a private trial?
Yeah, just at the club, yeah.
And who did the deal? Like, how did the deal go down where they said to you, we're going to take you, want you to nominate, but then go away for 12 months, we'll take our chances? So
I trialled, and then I had a meeting with Wellesley and Neil Baum after the trial, and they said they were happy to sign me after the trial that day. And I spoke to them and said, I'm really interested in just this next coming season with athletics, and I'd really like to do that. So if it means signing and having to come to the club or not, I'm not going to. So we worked out a deal, and they were more than happy for me to go away. And
so you could have got paid to do nothing from Geelong, and everyone took a chance on that?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if you'd got to the Olympics, would you have abandoned footy?
That's a very good question. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it would have been nice to, I guess, be a leader at both two sports.
Being involved in a team sport now, it's quite an amazing feeling running out in front of those huge crowds.
Yeah, it's nothing I've ever experienced before. My first game was 75,000 people at the MCG, so yeah, very fortunate to be in the position I am.
How far off were you making the Olympics?
Oh, I was a good 7 or 8 seconds, so it doesn't seem like much.
It's not long.
But it's a lot. Over 1,500, it's a lot.
So you're done now with that? That's a dumb question, but you're done? That's it? Footy's your future forever?
Yep.
Wow. It's a fascinating story. Nathan?
Couple of facts. The club doctor at Geelong was an Olympian and also #1 in disposal efficiency of all the ruckmen in the competition, so he's going really well. But last night, the Cats... third quarter, 8 goals. And in the last quarter, Collingwood opened up the game again. I thought they got the Cats on the spread in the last quarter. Their last 3 goals to show this. And before I show it, Andrew Mackie was probably just about Geelong's best player with Corey Enright. So not having a go at Andrew Mackie, I just think he did that much running in the last quarter that towards the end of the game it was Collingwood's fleet of foot players. As we see here, in the last quarter, the ball got on the outside a lot. So the Collingwood runners, Season was terrific. And this guy was also outstanding as well. Harry O'Brien, run and carry, really good as they go forward here. Here's the one with Mackie. Now, he's done it a power of running so far tonight, Mackie. As we play the tape, he's on Andrew Cracker. They start about 1.5 metres off each other. But Andrew Cracker's work rate down towards the forward pocket. Mackie, we haven't seen him yet. As we've seen this a couple of times today, ends up kicking the goal, Andrew Cracker.
You get a free kick there.
Then the next one is a boundary throw-in. And the Pies are always trying to get the ball on the outside, as we see here. That man again there, Pendlebury, he was terrific. They get the ball on the outside again. Seedsman in the last quarter is really instrumental in his run and carry. So we see here, here's Jamie Elliott. He's just about to turn around and go. He's got to beat 3 of them back to the goal square. And he runs past all 3 of them. It's just superior running, I thought, last night from the Pies. As the ball goes over the top, he's ran past 3. He's still putting space on these guys. Collingwood's fitness staff would be very happy watching these highlights last night. And then this is the last goal. This is the winner. They get the ball on the outside again. They got it away from Geelong's bigger bodies as Cloak goes back to Blair and goes inboard. As we see Andrew Cracker here, a couple of players could have gone to Andrew Cracker here. One of these two, Enright comes up here. So it's this guy's job here to come over to Andrew Cracker, who's just found space. He's still got space. He's still got a lot of space. There's not a lot of urgency to get to Andrew Cracker when the game's on the line, and eventually kicks a very nice goal. So just Collingwood's work rate, I thought, got him over the line last night.
Nathan Vardy, Marco, I want to ask you about him. He's a weird unit, there's no doubt about that. And have a look at some of these tweets. And if you can explain them, that would be good. Nathan Vardy here. Why doesn't glue stick to the inside of the bottle? Mind-blowing. Name a colour without the letter W in it. Hate when I get handed a sausage in bread and it's not diagonal in the bread.
Blue and black. Green.
And I'm pretty sure there is more nipples in the world than people.
Yellow.
Now, there's a lot of colours actually with that, but a bit different. Vart?
Yeah, I think he's discovered one of the tweeting websites, mind-blowing facts or something. He's all over it. So no, Vards is good. He loves to have a joke around the club.
Can I ask one more on you? When you first started pre-season, did Chris Scott say this is what we've got in store for you? Did you ever think that you could be playing in round 1?
Not at the start of pre-season, no. I just thought I'd get as fit and as strong as possible, as quick as I can, and learn the game. And I think post the Falls Creek camp was when I sort of felt a little bit more confident in my footy ability and started to improve. And then I guess it just happened week by week from there.
When you started pre-season and you started some of the running, what did the other midfielders do when you just took off and you were 100, 200 metres in front?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, well, I was in the back of his head.
No, just surely
they go with you?
shock and amazement seeing a big tall
This
up and
man
run like
here,
that.
though, just on that great point, Croft, was he started a new tactic in AFL football. He covers for the defenders like Harry Taylor and Tom Lonigan. I've seen you do it a few times. They go charging forward. What ruckman in the history of the game can cover for a key defender? They charge forward. It's been a winner for Geelong so far this year.
Yeah, been fantastic. Some votes.
Yeah, the votes last night. Harry O'Brien was terrific. Sammy Dwyer, 13 disposals in the last quarter and a goal. Pendlebury was good. And I thought Corey Enright was the Cats' best. The month ahead for the Pies, Sydney Swans, Brisbane, Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. So a big game next weekend to get the Swans. And Geelong have got a pretty good run. Port Adelaide, the Gold Coast Suns, Greater Western Sydney and the bye.
Oh, the Gold Coast Suns, that'll be a beauty too. Under lights, it's Saturday night in Geelong with those magnificent lights. All right then, their colour shoes, there they are. There's the other prize there. St. Goliath's pack, the Man What a Fuss $100 voucher there, the King Chrome spanner set, the Ready to Golf $130 voucher, the coolest sports towel in the market, the Waterside Hotel $100 voucher there. And the Home Timber and Hardware $100 gift voucher. Go where the tradies go. Good on you, Marco.
Wouldn't get that in athletics.
No, that's right. Thank you very much.
Just for the record, just for the record, your surname, how do you pronounce it?
Blitzarves. So the C's pronounced as a TZ. So
You get that, Bill?
Blitzarves. See, easy.
not at all, Bill.
Thanks, Mark. Mark, what's up? Joining us now. The jump-in poll today. Get involved. Jump in. Download the app. jumpin.com.au. What's been the best win of the round? Eagles, Lions, or Maggies? Give us your thoughts on that. Nathan Brown with a touching human interest story next, and plenty more to come. This is the Sunday Footy Show. We told it well, but
Mate, he's a good man, Bradshaw. And you know how good they stop.
We're here in the heartland of Western Sydney in Auburn at the Auburn Girls Footy Club. What's so special about this footy club? One, they're all girls, and two, the majority of them are Muslims. Let's go and find out what makes these Trailblazers so special. here we have with us the co-captain of the Auburn Tigers, Leo. How does a group of girls from Muslim background play AFL football?
Well, for me, I had 9 older brothers and they all played AFL growing up.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching my brothers play and I loved it ever since.
Was there any negativity towards it when you first started up from the boys' team or from the men?
There was a little bit of negativity just because it was something different. You know, it is a change. It's not the typical thing for a group of Muslim girls to play sports. So with any change, there's always going to be some hesitation because it is unknown. But I think as the years gone by and they see how good it is for our team and how much they've come to learn and you know, grow as individuals, they see only the positives out of this team, and the positives only outweigh the negatives.
And I read an article about you, and you choose to wear the headscarf while you play. That's a personal choice for you and something that you believe strongly in.
Yeah, so it's a personal choice for me. It's a religious duty for me, and a lot of the girls have it on in playing AFL. It doesn't really affect me playing. It might get a little bit hot, but other than that, you know, it's cool.
Now with me we have Amna, and Amna, you're a very special woman because you are the co-founder of the Auburn Tigers. How do you put a group of girls together to play football, most of them Muslim, in New South Wales and Sydney?
It's had its challenges. I mean, there are multi-layered issues. We live in an area that's got low socio-economic background, so most of these girls can't rely on their parents to give them money to play a sport. So we have to be considerate in terms of fees and apparel. So we want them to feel like a football club, but we also need the funding to do that. We also need to be mindful of the cultural stigma of women playing and interacting with men, and every culture has its own parameters about how you do that. And then there's also the religious element about how do you dress modestly and comply with your religion, but also still have the opportunity to participate. So there have been so many things to work through, but we're working through them one thing at a time.
We started this team to give everyone an opportunity to play sport and to show girls that you can do it, and it's not just for the boys to go kick footy around. You know, girls are just as good, if not better.
What a fantastic story, Nathan Brown there in Sydney during the week, and what a great example, Brownie, of what our game represents to so many people.
Yeah, they were terrific young girls as well, and in the rugby league Hark ground, they've started up that team. Cultural differences, but they're inspirational.
Fantastic. Well done to the girls, and good luck for the rest of the season. The Gold Coast Suns won their second game in a row for I think the first time, boys, in their history, and they did it after being challenged early with a 32-point win against Matthew Lord's Bulldogs.
They did indeed. There it is there. Campbell Brown, we'll have a chat to him very shortly. Outstanding. Only had 10 touches, but kicked 3 and was involved in a lot. Ablett, good. O'Meara, Prestia. Very, very good player. Stringer was good. And Cooney, Boyd, Griffin there. But a really good win. Third quarter was fantastic for the Gold Coast Suns. The Supercoach points there. Ablett, O'Meara, Prestia. Lonigan, another good kid coming along. Big Will Minson continue his good form. Cooney was also good with Ryan Griffin. Great pleasure to introduce and welcome to the Sunday Footy Show the Brown Dog. Campbell Brown has been outstanding since he's come back into this side. Was very, very good again. He's up there in sunny Queensland. Welcome, Brown Dog, and a really, really good win. And as Archie said, the first time in your history to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, thanks, Billy. Yeah, no, it was an exciting night for us. You know, in the past, we've come out and had a win and then let ourselves down the following week, and we really focused. You know, this week we ticked off our first win at the G, and you know, the job quickly moved on to backing it up and playing with a little bit more consistency. And you know, the first quarter was a little bit scrappy, but we managed to really grind out a pretty good win in the end.
Campbell, well done and welcome back. You were out for quite some time. Is it true that you said to your coach, Guy McKenna, put me straight back in the side, I guarantee you victory against Melbourne last week? Is that true?
It might be true, mate. I was willing to say whatever I could to get a game last week, mate. It was pretty precariously balanced, and at one stage I wasn't in the side, and Carmichael Hunt pulled out late with a tight hammy, and I got the chance, and I was pretty keen to grab that opportunity.
Brownie, I reckon you haven't looked back since we buried the hatchet, and the pressure's gone. The pressure's gone right off you. But anyway, Brownie, what about your second half? You must be happy. 9 goals to 3 after half time. You're starting to overrun teams now, which wouldn't have happened in the last few years.
Yeah. Look, we knew we'd done a power of work over the pre-season. You know, we worked really, really hard, and it's just about taking some of that work into games now. And we're actually running running teams off their legs a little bit now. You know, what used to be one of our weaknesses was our second halves is now actually one of our strengths. Our last quarters have been really good so far this year, and you know, the Western Bulldogs, to their credit, were kept coming all the way right to the end, but we just managed to hold them off and get that tight win.
Yeah, no doubt. Here, we're just having a look at some highlights here.
Bill.
Oh, the bomb was sensational, but the Western Bulldogs led by 12 points at quarter time, 5 points at half time, and then that third quarter. 7 goals to 1. We're just having a look at it. Joe the Goose over the top, and Jaeger O'Meara, we love him. Sensational, was very, very good again last night, Brown Dog.
Yeah, the bomb's a star, mate. He's got it all. He's got the looks. He's got a body to die for. A bit like yours, Billy.
Yes.
And he can certainly play, mate. He's playing like he's a 100-game footballer already in just his 8th game. He's really inspirational in there, and you know, some of his hardness and contested stuff's been super.
Brownie, you've done it hard over the last few years, obviously losing a lot of games, and you've been in and out with suspension. It sort of seemed to me that you've sort of conceded in previous weeks that this might be your last year, but it's the last couple of weeks and the improved form of the Gold Coast Suns got you thinking I'd like to hang around even longer?
Yeah, look, I'd love to play footy as long as I can, and yeah, it was a pretty difficult 2 years up here, the first couple of years, and you know, with the 6-week suspension hanging over me, I just wasn't sure where my football was at. But certainly, like, loving every minute being out there at the moment, and you know, it's great to play in some wins and kick a few goals, and it's very much just a week-to-week proposition for me at the moment, mate. We'll make a bit more of an educated decision a little bit further down the season, but yeah, just loving being out there.
Yes, so they're the votes. Ablett, O'Meara, Campbell Brown, 3 goals, and loved his score involvements and just tough and hard. And Rory Thompson's doing a fantastic job down back there. And the month ahead, the Gold Coast Suns have got Hawthorn, Geelong, North Melbourne, Essendon, Western Bulldogs, St Kilda, Port Adelaide. They've got the bye in Collingwood. And Brownie, we love having you on. You'll get all the prizes, of course. Last time we spoke to you up there in sunny Queensland, you only had the thongs on. What have you got on today?
Yeah, no, mate, I've just come...
He's got the budgie smugglers on.
Jeez. No Magic door.
I've just come straight off the beach, boys. So, as you can see, I might go for a little bit more. That's how we do our interviews up here.
Oh, how good's that?
Campbell Brown joining us.
That's how we roll up here, boys.
Well played. One of the great characters of footy. Auto.
Now, the next game we'll take a look at is a cracker last night. The draw at the SCG. It was the Sydney Swans and the Fremantle Dockers. As I said earlier, 2 quality sides. You thought Freo had gone for all money there. Hanbury was brilliant with 4 goals on Crowley, as we've touched on. McGlynn, 2 goals. Kieran Jack, Kennedy Goods, all the prime moves for the Swans found plenty of the footy. Fife spent a lot of time forward, kicked 2-2. Barlow, Johnson late. We'll look at that incident later on. He was very good as well. Josh Kennedy, 151 Supercoach points. Jack Kennedy, Parker and Pike played a good game last night as well. And for the Dockers, you've got the usual suspects. But here's Fife early in the game forward. He's a hard matchup, but he kicked the goal and it was a real scrap. It was a type of game that you would imagine at the SCG. 2 teams that are so defensively minded, and you just thought it's going to be hard to find a winner here.
Can the Dockers win the flag, Lordo?
Oh, well, I'm not sure they've got enough weapons. They're very good at defending, and that's what they did well yesterday. They got down by 4 goals, and they, as I said, in the last quarter, they were able to scrap back. But I just feel that against teams who can score quickly, they just can't find an answer to that. So
Havlich and Sandler's to come back.
And also Hill. So you'd think that after round 2, I said they could. I've just been a bit concerned about them, the way they played against Collingwood and Essendon and games like that. But I suppose those guys wouldn't want to miss too much more football for them to be a chance. Here's the vision I spoke about, Hanbury. He changed this game. I thought when I was coming in this morning, the whole talk was going to be about that man, Daniel Hanbury, how he changed the game. And here again, he kicks 4 goals in a tight first half, and it was the real difference in that. Fremantle kept blazing away. They're really missing Pavlich, Sandilands, Kepler Bradley, just someone who they can go to in the forward line. It was 44-26, Bill.
Yep.
And it just took Ross Lyon, the master coach, to put guys like Subin, Zach Clark, different options forward to try and get them a goal.
He's clever, isn't he? He's been fantastic. And who deserved to win the game? Normally, if there's a draw, there's one side that deserves to win.
Yeah, I thought that the Sydney Swans deserved to win, but as I said, it was more just they just didn't have a focal point forward. And then you hear Michael Johnson, he just had to create goals, the Fremantle Dockers, and they started to win the ball on their terms. Guys like Jack and Kennedy and McVeigh started to die out. It was the Fremantle midfielders in Barlow and Mundy and Fife. This is the last kick. Just didn't seem he's laid off it a little bit
because it's not a 50-metre line. It's only about a 46-metre line. He really should just kick a point or a goal.
And the Swans win the flag.
The Swans, I think they can. Yeah, I'm more confident on the Swans winning the flag. Add Tippett to the mix. Hanbury by far best on ground. Jack 33 possessions. Fife won plenty of ball and 2 goals too, and Michael Johnson was brilliant across half-back and the forward line. The next month ahead, huge game Friday night, Sydney and Collingwood. Then it's Essendon and Adelaide, so a tough run for the Swans, and Freo have a pretty good run over the next month.
Thanks very much, Lordo.
So what I'm prepared to do for this show and BCNA, I will get on my bike and I will ride to Perth.
No.
I am going to ride to Perth. But there's a catch. What? There's a bit of a catch. Yes. I'm not just going to take my time, I'm going to race. So I'm going to go further than the Tour de France in less days. So I am going to race to Perth and hopefully get there in time to meet you guys.
Hope you get there.
Well, it's a wonderful story, Crawford. It's a big challenge you've got ahead of you. Have you started training yet?
Last couple of days have been a bit slack, but I'm going to go training with Bill today. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, you ride and I'll drink.
It should be a great trip, so best of luck in the trip coming up. We'll follow it with interest. The Hawthorn GWS game yesterday, the Giants were a bit more competitive than most thought they would be early, boys.
Yeah, they were. They had a real crack, which is all you want from a young team. There's a score, 21-14, 140, 9-3, 53. Roughhead 5, Gunston 3, Franklin kicked 2. Cameron, 4 goals. We pump him up all the time, but he's a star. Adams and Palmer and Sammy Mitchell had another great game. He'll be going very well in the Brownlow medal, so just keep your eye on Sammy Mitchell. There's the Supercoach top 5, Roughhead, Gunston, Sammy Mitchell with 123, and Taylor Adams, I thought he played really well with the Giants and had another really good game. Also Ward, he had 105 Supercoach points, but it was a good victory. No highlights because...
it wasn't it?
I didn't press record.
You were out right.
Sammy Mitchell, Roughhead, Lewis and Burgoyne in a very even performance and a good win. GWS had a real go. Hawthorn, month ahead, Gold Coast Suns, Melbourne, Bye and the Blues. And GWS have got West Coast, Carlton, Geelong and Port Adelaide. The end.
Thanks, Shane. Time now for the Life Broker Sunday Agenda. Here's Damien Barrett.
Thank you, Hutchie. Essendon's dream start to the year has been tempered with consecutive losses, and Jake Melksham, gun young bomber, earlier on the Sunday Footy Show told us of the stress that was going on with some players in those 3.5-hour interviews they're having with the SADA.
Obviously, yeah, you're a little bit nervous going in there because you haven't done anything like that before. I'd never experienced anything like that, and you're really out of your comfort zone. So I don't think the boys have taken too much toll on it, but once it's all over and it's done, I think it'll be good for the club.
Jake Melksham there earlier on the Sunday Footy Show. Brisbane Lions coach Michael Voss under a fair bit of stress and pressure, but some of that was eased yesterday after the big win. Tommy Rockcliffe earlier on our show said that he wanted Voss there next year.
I think Voss is the right man for the job and he's gone about it in the right way, and the boys are fully behind him, and we've just probably let ourselves down a couple of times this year. It's been disappointing when we've travelled.
Tommy Rockcliffe there in the Carlton-Port Adelaide game about to start. Teams as selected. Menzel the sub for the Blues and Mitchell for Port.
Thanks, Damo. For Life Broker, experts in life insurance with the Sunday Agenda there. Speaking of Carlton-Port, it's on next door shortly. Let's get out in the concourse, I reckon. Go and see what you can stir up for us, Croft.
OK.
We'll come back and find out what's happening next door, next on the Sunday Footy Show.
Gives it a long ball. It might have had the distance. That could get them points. Selwood about 70 metres out. Sends it long down towards full forward. Nutnui! Oh, Nutnui held all week.
Some of the contenders for the Life Broker Mark of the Week, get online and vote. Nick Nat will be very hard to beat this year in the running for the Life Broker Mark of the Year. Right, North Melbourne and West Coast was a fantastic Friday night. Speaking of which, the Eagles got out of jail by 2 points, Brownie. There's no doubt about it. And it was a fantastic last 5 minutes by the Eagles.
It was terrific. The Kangaroos consider themselves stiff. As we see there, 2 points. We've seen the highlights. Josh Hill, 3 goals. Shuey, Kennedy were good. Black, he's a standout for the Kangaroos at the moment. Boomer Harvey was terrific also. Supercoach points, Nat Newey with that big mark and goal at the end. Pritis was good. Hill kicked 3 from limited opportunities. Hearn out of the back end was good. Harvey, Black, Zeeble, Wells and Cunnington. As we see Wells here putting it inside forward 50. Majak Daw on a couple of occasions in that first quarter got his hands to it, but he couldn't quite clunk it, so he brought back to earth. Mackenzie did a good job on him. North Melbourne kicked 6 of the first 7 goals in this game, and they really dominated Lloydie. Their run and carry on the outside, but then for 2 quarters they only kicked 1 goal and let West Coast back in.
Yeah, it was interesting. I thought North Melbourne's on the outside. They looked like their run and carry was going to trouble West Coast, but just West Coast got back to their defensive press at times and just was able to put the squeeze back on North. And what about the lack of belief, Brownie, for North Melbourne, losing these tight ones? Has it become an issue for them? 15
points up, only about 5 minutes to go, Lloydie, and they got the ball, they won the ball in the back end, and they chipped it wide, and they had the ball. All they needed to do was soak up another 2 minutes or even another minute, because they still led at that stage by 2 kicks. West Coast needed to kick 2 goals. What they did then was go long down the line to a 50-50 to Scotty Thompson, who got outmarked. All they needed to do, there was options there. They had to chip it around and soak up time. They go through this at training. They figure out, how do we work the clock down? See, Swallow kicks his goal. He was all right.
No, he was good, considering last week he wasn't going to play for 4 weeks.
No.
And Hill was very good, wasn't he? He just gives him something more up there. He had a bounce too close there, ran around, sold some candy. And this is when they were coming back. The crowd got behind them.
Yep.
And you can blame umpire decisions or whatever you want, but Nick Newey, too much latitude there to run at the ball. Hansen should have stopped him. And then have a look at the boys in the mark here, doing handstands and everything. Goal after song. Hard to do that, kick it after song.
That's the loudest I've ever heard a crowd.
Yeah.
When he took that mark, not so much the goal, but when he took that mark, that crowd was up in unison. Lockie Hansen, Pritis, Goldstein and Shuey. I thought Goldstein was terrific. Lockie Hansen took 15 marks, Hutch. Greater Western Sydney, Richmond, St Kilda, North Melbourne, Adelaide, St Kilda, Gold Coast. Nick Nat wasn't that good, Bill.
You didn't give him votes.
He took a big mark and a goal at the end, but other than that, Nick Nat got well
only bloke that looked like he could play.
Don't get seduced by a one big moment.
Yeah,
just because you didn't kick a goal after Siren. Bloody hard to do,
Richards medal. Gary Ablett's leading that one at the moment, 41. Hanbury's very good, 38, and he might have shortened up in the Brownlow odds.
Matt Campbell will tell us from sportsbet.com.au. Hello, Matt.
Archie, boys, yes, Hanbury and Pendlebury, the 2 shorteners for the Brownlow. The website has all the details. But to the 3 games today, first up, Carlton. They're at $1.41 to take on Port Adelaide. A little bit of money for Port, $3.15 into $3. I think that's more about perceived value rather than a genuine push for them to win. Then the Tigers at $1.01, the shortest they've ever been in a game of footy. Melbourne at $18. More about Melbourne and Richmond in a minute. And then to the final game today, good support for the Crows. They're at $1.32 and Saints at $3.50. Now, Richmond, they're at $3.50 to have the biggest margin over Melbourne in the next 4 weeks. Hawthorn, the favourites, $2.85, down to Collingwood at $4. Melbourne can win a game. You can still win on that bet. So if you want to back the Tigers, you can today at that $3.50. And then next Friday night, a big game between Collingwood and Swans. Collingwood into $1.68. Swans $2.10. We're always the first to market for these games the following week. Got a cracking special on this game. If the margin is 20 points or less, we'll refund your head-to-head bet. So that's a 20-point buffer, Hutch, for next Friday night.
Wow, that's a great bet. 20 points or less a refund. Thanks to Matty Campbell from sportsbet.com.au. Carlton and Port Adelaide, it's a big game in the scheme of the finals today. Let's head out onto the concourse. Next door, Shane Crawford's there for the build-up.
Massive game, massive crowd heading in there. It's going to be on, and I tell you what, there's a lot of love for the Blues. We've got a couple of twins here. They're very excited. We've got a Port Power fan from obviously Adelaide.
No, I'm from Victoria, mate.
He's from Victoria, but he goes with the Power. We've got the kids here. They're all excited. And we've got a West Coast supporter. Wrong city, mate. You played on Friday night.
Mate, come down and watch the footy today. No pressure for us. We're to win on Friday night, so it's all good.
Oh, they're very happy. So who's going to win? Well, I think the Blues are going to get home. They got the more supporters. Back to you, boys.
Thanks, Shane. Shane Crawford joining us next door. He'll be back for the handball in a moment. I'm off to get ready for TAC Cup Future Stars. Nathan Brown and Billy up next with Lose Handball.
crowned champion on Lou's handball for season 2013 will receive $10,000 cash, with $5,000 going to the runner-up thanks to our great mates at Carry Boy. And each week, the top handballer will take home $500 cash and the runner-up pocketing a tidy $250. That's over $35,000 worth of prizes, courtesy of the Sunday Footy Show and Carry Boy. Carry Boy, Australia's leading canopy and 4x4 accessories company. For more details and to check out their product range, visit carryboy.com.au.
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Lou's handball time. Hello to Lou and Bill. These two have been on the panel. A couple of very good-looking roosters we got on the handball today.
They are indeed, of course. We spoke to them earlier, as you said. Tommy Rockcliffe from the Lions and Jakey Aquilas Melcham. He loves the Aquilas. He loves getting in here. So thanks for being on the show today, boys. Been good. You enjoyed it, Tommy?
Yeah, it's been good.
Good on you, mate. What's that haircut called? What do we call that, champ?
Just trying to keep up with Crawl.
Ah, right. Yes, very nice. Wayne, get the target moving. Carry Boy, $500 to the winner. Thanks to Carry Boy, $250 to the runner-up. And Jakey, old Aquilas, you're away first.
Come on, Jakey.
Come on. Right, whatever you want to do. 5 on the right will start us.
7.
Oh, good start. 7. Good calling, Matthew.
7.
14.
7.
21.
7.
Oh, 28. 28.
7.
35. That'll do you. Righto, Tommy. Oh, Tommy. Oh, here he goes. Look at him on the right. Oh,
7.
Just a nice little handball.
7. All 7.
14. 14. All 7s.
7.
21.
Very consistent.
7.
The boy
28.
from Benalla, Bill.
Benalla. Oh! That's 38. 38, 35. Come on, Jakey. Come on, Aquila. Do it for the Aquillas.
7.
42.
7.
49.
7.
56. 2 to come. Jakey.
7.
63. 1 to come. 10 sevens.
7.
Yes. 70.
Well done.
Righto. 70, 38. On Tommy. See if you can,
7.
see if you can clean him up. It's a looping one. 45.
7.
52.
7.
Oh, 59. 2 to come.
7.
Hang on. 66, 70. A 7 will win. A bullseye will win. A 5 will win. There he is. Tommy's our winner. Tommy's our winner. Carry Boy. Canopies and accessories. They're the best in the business. $500 to you, mate. Well done. $250 to you, Jakey. And another good handball. Tommy goes through, and the Lions have won another one over the Bombers.
They certainly have. That's all we've got time for today. Thanks for joining us. Classified tomorrow night. Andrew Demetrio in the hot seat. 11:30. We're back next week. Thursday night footy show. 8:30. Have a great weekend.
On ya, Louie.
Put him in there, Jakey. Put him in there.
Go,